What's going on, everybody? I'm Jiffy Nano, and today we're doing another Theorycraft build for Borderlands 3. Also, I want to say that we have seen so much new stuff for Borderlands 3. Holy crap. We have seen hours worth of Fl4k gameplay that I might insert bits and pieces here. We've seen hours of new planets. We've seen, there's so much stuff we've seen. They just announced this yesterday night that Circles of Slaughter and Proving Grounds for our endgame content. There's lots of cool stuff that we're seeing here, so I'm super excited. So this build, I'm going to call the Fl4k's Group Hug build. It was brought to my attention by a couple of people in my comment section, which I'll put their names up here, that if you spec them out right, you can have just an insane amount of health regen for you and your friends. So we're going to do that, where this is what I call the Group Hug build. So we're going to go first, we're going to take a Gamma Burst. Gamma Burst is the only skill that will let you do this as efficiently as it does. Fl4k creates a rift on target location, teleporting their pet through the rift, dealing radiation damage to enemies. Additionally, Fl4k's pet becomes irradiated, growing in size, dealing bonus radiation damage when it attacks. You can also use Gamma Burst to revive your pet if it's dead or downed. So that's the skill. That's the action skill you want. Next, we're going to take this Spider Ant Centurion. That's the pet you want because it gives you 1% health regen passively. And the first skill tree we're going to go down is Stalker, because that's where most of the healing skills are. So I have these written down, and we're going to rattle them off fairly quickly, because I also want to talk about how this build would be played in-game. So first thing you want is self-repairing system. That's 1.5% max health regen per second. And 30% max health. So anything that increases your max health or gives you max health regen is going to help you. Put 5 points into Eager to Impress. Whenever Fl4k kills an enemy, the action skill cooldown time is reduced, and the pet reduces it even more. This is so you can have Gamma Burst up as quickly as possible after you use it. All my BFFs, this is the crux of this build. The only reason this works as well as it does is because of this. If you're playing solo, it'll still work fairly well, but like this skill is almost pointless if you're playing solo. We're going to take Lick the Wounds so your pet can revive you. Turn Tail and Run. When you're moving, you get health regen and damage reduction. When you're standing still, you get gun damage and fire rate. This is another about 1% more health regen. We're going to take Fast and the Furious because it synergizes better with having a bunch of health regen than Hidden Machine. Although if I had the extra points, I would go for Hidden Machine because Hidden Machine's really good. Then we're going to take Rage and Recover. After killing an enemy, Fl4k and Fl4k's pet regen health for a few seconds. This is the weakest healing skill he has because instead of regenning max health, it regens 8% of missing health. So this is hard to calculate for, but it's still good. It's still healing. And because they're going to be hopefully constantly at max health, in theory we will be, the Power Inside is going to be the most synergistic capstone for this one. Fl4k and Fl4k's pet gain increased damage when Fl4k activation action skill. If Fl4k is at full health, the increased damage is doubled. So you start a fight with this, and you can get double damage, essentially. Okay, so back to the Master Tree. The Master Tree, because you're going to irradiate your pet, you might as well use him for some stuff, and we need to get down to the Burst State Augment. So we're going to take 5 points into Ferocity, 50% extra pet damage. 3 points into Persistent Hunter, so you get better gun damage and action skill duration. This is mostly for the action skill duration. 5 points into Who Rescued Who. Whenever Fl4k's pet deals damage, Fl4k regenerates health. Whenever Fl4k deals damage to an enemy, their pet's health is restored for a portion of the damage dealt. This is just for the 2% max health regen when the pet's dealing damage. So we need to get down to Barbaric Yop, so we're going to put 2 points into He Bites. It's damage reflection, more damage for your pet to deal. So that means your pet's going to be dealing more damage for Who Rescued Who. Wow. And then we will put 5 points into Barbaric Yop. Increases the pet bonuses granted to Fl4k. This essentially doubles, or depending on how the calculations are, like 1 point, like gives it 1.5 times duration or 1.5 times effectiveness. So this would go up to 2% or 2.5, depending on how they calculate it in this game. Our augments for our action skill. We're going to take Endurance. When Fl4k and Fl4k's pet kills an enemy while Gamma Burst is active, the duration of Gamma Burst is extended and the pet damage is increased. These effects stack up to 5 times. This, in theory, will give you 15 extra seconds of your Gamma Burst and 50 extra pet damage per kill. This just makes it so you can have your Gamma Burst rift open as long as possible, which we're going to talk about next. We're going to use Burst Aid. When Gamma Burst, after using Gamma Burst, the rift remains for the duration of the skill. While standing near the rift, Fl4k and their allies rapidly regenerate health. You get 20% max health regen per second. This is the biggest thing in this build. So, essentially what you want to do when you start fights is you use your action skill in the area you want to stand. You send your pet literally right next to you so the rift is on top of you, and then use your attack command to send your pet off. You and your friends are gaining, just with this, 20% of max health regen per second. But because you're getting 20% max health regen per second, they're getting an extra 10% from all my BFFs. Because 50% of all the health regen you have goes to them. But that's not all of it, because you get 1.5% here, 1% here, a weird calculation of 8% there, and then another 2% there. So you would have plus the 2% from your pet. So you got 2% from your pet, 3.5, 4, weird 8. So that's kind of 10, depending on what's going on. While this is happening, you got another 2, so 12. You're going to be getting like 30. You're going to be getting like 10 or 15% health regen without your action skill active. With your action skill active, you're going to be getting almost 30% health regen per second for up to, 20 seconds plus another 15, 35 seconds. So just you are going to get 30% health regen per second. But because of my BFFs, your friends get half of that, plus the 20% plus the 20% they're getting from standing near the rift. So in theory, you would be getting 30%, but your friends are getting 35% health regen per second for 35 seconds, which is insane. I'm going to gain 1/3 of my health every second for the next minute, almost. Not even almost, for the next half a minute. That is nuts. That is stupid. Especially with characters like 4 Fl4ks all running this build will be unkillable. Absolutely unkillable. That's insane. And that's even if they don't, that's if the calculations aren't weird. Cuz I doubt they'll do this. I doubt this is what's going to happen, cuz I'm sure they checked for this. But if for whatever reason they didn't, let's say you only take Burst Aid for 20% and all my BFFs, and you've got 2 Fl4ks in one game. You're standing near your rift. Your friend isn't. So you have 20% health regen. Cool. You're giving him 10% health regen. But if he has all my BFFs, if he has 10% health regen, it should give you 5% health regen, making it so you now have 25% health regen. But if you have 25% health regen, you should be giving him 12.5% health regen. 12.5 health regen. Which would increase his health regen, and then increase your health regen, or then increase his health regen, and then increase your health regen. And I doubt this is how it works, but if it is, then you have infinite health regen, and the game's broken. But I'm sure they have accounted for that. If they didn't, Gearbox, what are you doing? Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I super appreciate you guys. If you want to see more builds, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this build, hit that like button. Lets me know if you enjoyed the builds. I don't know why I said that twice. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing and hitting that bell, because I got to say that now because the bell matters because YouTube's silly. And check out my Twitch channel where I'm going to be streaming a crap ton of Borderlands 3 when it first comes out. Like I'm gonna be playing that for like 30 hours. I'll probably make an announcement on the channel at some point before that happens. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.